following. We've got a couple people winning today based on their contributions and their questions and them like their token picks. So yeah, get ready, guys.
First token to participate in on the virtuals ecosystem. So things like that are things that I'm always keeping an eye out for on Twitter. And if some of the people that I also hang out with and trade are talking about it, then that makes me even more likely to want to look into it and maybe participate in the launch. But as you guys can see here, it launched earlier today, about 3 hours ago. Um, like we mentioned, every Genesis launch has a minimum FDV of 250,000. Of course, if there's a lot of oversubscription and a lot of people are participating, that obviously gets blown out of the water. As you can see here, this hit an incredible like 120, 130 million market cap within the first candle. I don't know how accurate this wick is, but if it's accurate, it hit over 200 million market cap and then came crashing down quite a bit since then. And it's sitting right now at 55 million market cap, fully diluted market cap. If you participated in this launch, you got in at a price of 250,000 fully diluted valuation. As you can see here, I haven't claimed my tokens yet because I wanted to make sure I did it live for you guys and to show you what that process would be like. Um, and to show that, hey, I'm not just getting into these Genesis launches and then dumping them right away, because that would be detrimental to my future point building. So yes, this one went pretty crazy. It's coming down a little bit now, and a lot of people who obviously got a big chunk of allocation through the Genesis launch are probably dumping their bags, maybe taking some profits and going into take profit jail. So every time you enter one of these Genesis launches and you get an allocation, the first thing you want to do is as soon as you see this in the page that you're able to claim your tokens, it's probably the first thing you want to do. Claim them. And let me see. So then it just opens up your wallet. You hit claim. And this one's actually going to be interesting because this is the first token that they have here on Ethereum. So one thing that they told everybody is like, hey, be sure that you have gas on Ethereum, because even though all the points and the virtuals that were committed to it were done on base, the actual tokens that you receive and you trading it will actually be done on the Ethereum network. And as you can see here now, when I go to swap, instead of saying base, it says Ethereum. And I don't have any Ethereum virtuals, but thankfully I did have some ETH in order to pay for the gases. All right. And if I want to look at to how much I was able to participate, I believe I'm still able to do that, which was, I think, here in my transaction history, you'll be able to see how much I was able to commit. I don't think it was much. It should be recently. Ethereum network. And
Yeah,
as you
so I
can see
had
here,
put
two virtuals into the Genesis launch. So, and I got airdropped 1.75 back. So out of the two virtuals that I committed and the 7,500 points that I put towards this Genesis launch, they took a total of 1/4 of a virtual. So 0.25 virtuals, which I believe is like 50 cents, was taken from me, and then all of it, the rest of it was returned back to me, and that gave me a total of 2,194 iris. That amount of iris, so for 50 cents, I turned 50 cents into $122. So that is pretty crazy. Obviously, it took a lot more work than just, hey, here's my 50 cents, give me $122. It was more of like, hey, I got to trade, I got to stake, I got to participate in the ecosystem, I got to yap, participating in other people's
You cut off there, Caesar. Did you hit mute or something or? Yeah, Caesar, we can't hear you anymore, bro. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I think it's just Discord. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, you're just gonna have to rejoin. It's got to be a Discord issue, guys. I'm sorry about this. I can't control if Discord's gonna bug out on us today or not. But apparently it is a Discord issue. It's not just localized to us. So there he goes. Get him back up here. Yeah, Discord doesn't like us today.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And I can only tell if people can't hear me if I start seeing the chat. I was like, okay, let me
Yeah,
make sure
you
it's
just like cut out mid sentence. I don't know what it is, and then I tried to talk and I couldn't talk either. So, yeah.
well. There you go. I mean, it's Discord and it's trying to rug us while we're trying to share some good alpha here.
Usually that's X, not Discord. What the hell?
Yeah.
Um,
But okay, yeah, we were. I don't know where I cut off, but I was talking about Iris, how this pretty much took 50 cents and a lot of work to get those points to be able to get the 50-cent allocation. That 50 cents turned to $117 at right now prices. If I would have sold earlier, it could have probably been 200 something dollars. And this is where the question comes in for every person um, that participates in these Genesis launches is like, hey, was your points? Are you happy with your returns? Am I happy turning 50 cents to $120? Obviously, I really am. But now the question is, if I want to capitalize on those gains, if I want to capitalize on that money that I made, if I were to sell everything right now, it would put me in take profit jail, meaning that for the next 7 days, I wouldn't be able to generate points. I wouldn't be able to participate in other launches. And, this is where it comes into mind like, is it worth taking that penalty? Yes, it became 50 cents because that's how much I was able to participate. I was able to participate 0.25 virtuals, and that 0.25 virtuals turned into 55. 55.6 at right now prices. It's obviously going down a little bit because there are people deciding, hey, that's enough profit for me. I'll take it all. Um, but this is where it comes to the whole like game mechanics of virtuals. If like, okay, once you see those numbers, is that enough good enough for you to be able to sit out of the game for 7 days? And that's honestly something that I'm thinking about right now too. And I wanted to make sure that I had that thought process live here with you guys to ensure that, hey, this is the kind of stuff that you got to think about yourself. For me, I'm looking at it as like, okay, if I take these 55 virtuals right now, maybe I can go ahead and participate in the new Genesis launches that are happening, but I'm still able to trade. I'm still able to buy agents that are live. I'm still able to participate in the ecosystem in that way and still find profitable trades. But for who's just starting off and just got a good trade like that for your first one, you're looking at it, you turn 50 cents to 120. You're trying to decide, hey, is it worth it for me to take the profits? And one of the things that I would look at is let's look at all the Genesis launches that are upcoming, everything that's live right now. Are these any that I can look at and say, hey, I want to make sure I am liquid and I'm able to participate in those? Bugcat AI agent is about to be done in 8 minutes, and they only have 23% subscription, meaning that when this timer goes off, all those points and all those virtuals are going to be refunded back to everyone. So if I were to participate in it right now, the likelihood of this actually being going forward and the token launching is very, very low, unless some whales and some crazy people say, I'm going to dump everything and I'm going to make sure that this token goes through. So this one is not something that I'm very interested in. This one, Moxie, 166 participants, 45% subscribed, and it still has 8.5 hours. The only thing that I don't like about this one is that, as you can see here, is that Bugcat AI and a lot of these other ones tell you when the token unlocking will be done. This one just says do your own research, meaning that this token probably doesn't have any tokens locked for the team. And if that's the case, it makes it a little bit riskier for people because the the owners of this token or the people who are developing and launching it have the opportunity to sell their tokens right away instead of having them locked like a lot of these other tokens do. And as you can see here, when I click on Moxie, I'm able to see who's participated so far, how much they've committed, how many points, how many virtuals, how many towards the total goal of 42,000 we have. and then you see the team details. The fact that this person is a undoxed wallet, there's no link profile, there's no X, that already tells me like, okay, we don't know who this person is. It could just be a scam. I go to the project details. It's very very small. There's a website. It's called onlypumps.live. It has nothing to do with Moxie. That already tells me, hey, maybe this is not something I want to click. And always be careful. Even if you see it in the project details in the official website, you got to be careful with any links that you press and the links that you click. Then I'll go to the tokenomics, and we see that there's going to be a 37.5% for the public sale, which is happening right now. We have a liquidity pool of 12.5%. Treasury and liquidity 20%, operations 20%, and the developer gets 10%. And it says that these will be released 12 months from July 2nd, 2025 to May 28th, 2026. So even though he is able to sell the tokens right away, he doesn't start receiving his developer tokens until July 2nd, which is still pretty good. But you would still kind of want to see a lock on those tokens. So those two are okay. Probably ones that I wouldn't participate in myself, just because it doesn't look as attractive to me as some of these other ones. Mira has 24 hours. It just opened up 25 minutes ago. 33 participants, a subscription of 2.43. This one still has potential just because it's so new. And that's what I would do. I would go one by one, looking through them, going through Twitter, go asking the people in my group, in my circle, hey, have you guys heard of any of these? Is this something that you guys are keeping an eye out on? And then decide from there. Is the 7 days worth me taking my profits right now? And actually, one of the things that I'll show you guys right now is that I'm thinking that it is worth it. Of course, maybe it would have been more worth it 30 minutes ago or 25 minutes ago whenever it went live, because I was able to get it at a higher price. But for the sake of the example and showing you guys here what we have, I do think, I wonder if it's going to show up here actually. I do think the 50 cents to 150 or 100 or however many. Oh, and look, they just opened up staking. So if I wanted to, if I said, hey, you know what, I'm not going to take the profits right now, I'd rather just stake it and earn more points, I can go ahead and do that here. But I think right now I'll take the 50 cents to 115. I'll approve the transaction. And I have to keep in mind that this is in ETH. So I hope I have enough ETH. And just so you guys know, I've never gone to take profit jail before. I've only seen people go to it. So this is going to be a new experience for me. You guys are going to see me go to jail live. I wonder if there's like
I wonder what it looks
animation or
like.
something that tells you, okay, you're now.
I wonder what
Okay,
it
I don't
looks
have
like.
enough gas. Yeah, I don't have enough gas. Okay, so maybe I'm not going to jail because I don't want to
Not just
go have
yet.
to go through life. Not just yet because I don't have gas. And then if the price drops further, then I probably won't, and I just stake it. I just wanted to do it for the example. But yeah, once that happens, you would get a notification here that, hey, you're in take profit jail. You're not going to be able to claim any points for the next certain amount of time, and you're not going to be generating them points until that time is over. Um, and then, for 7 days, you pretty much just go do other stuff, go touch grass or something, and then come back once that time is over. One of the things that I do want to ask now, I know we're just about to hit the halfway mark of our hour. Of course, I want to go for a little bit longer. But for everyone here who's tuning in, who's watching not only live here on Discord, but maybe watching us on X, maybe some of these Genesis launches that are still going to be active, if you want to look through them, make some research yourself, and then share a token that you want us to look at the show. You see, hey, this is how, ensuring that you're doing your own research and making your own decisions, but also get a second opinion, because at the end of the day, like we said, it's better to do trading, it's better to do this space as a whole, as a group, because whenever you have questions and you ask questions, if someone else is able to answer them, that helps us all together. So look at Iris. Iris did do good. We were just talking about it. We cooked in that one, but I don't have any. I was gonna try to sell my share to show what it looks like to go to jail, but I don't have enough ETH, so I'm gonna have to do that after the show to get some ETH for gas. But Iris did cook. I'm guessing Dragoon got in in Iris. All right, let's see the chat. Yes, but if he takes it out, it locks his account for 7 days, so he needs to decide if I want to pull that out or not. Daya says, I can wait for 7 days. Yep. It sounds like a good idea on paper, but then the only downside is because some
You
of
missed
these
that
get launched like,
100x or something. Yeah.
yeah, you miss out on that one, and you only see the ones that are here right now that start in the next couple of days. But sometimes they just announce them. They're like, hey, this big thing is launching, and it's only going to be around for 2 days. And then if that's on like your day 3 of being in jail, you're out of luck because you're not going to be out of jail in time to be able to actually take advantage of that opportunity. But if you already came out big on another one, it's okay to miss a train every once in a while.
Damn, Dragoon must have hit big off of that one. 100 virtuals and 18k points.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Well, I did 7,500 points, and I got 0.25 virtuals. So I guess that with that math, he probably got like a full virtual in, meaning he got like 4x what we pulled. So yeah, it was a nice little come up.
Oh,
Not
he got
even
a
point
point one.
one. Wait, what? That makes no sense because they took 0.25 from me. Like that. I don't know how they would do that.
What was this site again?
They took 110.
Virtuals.fun?
No, it's virtuals.io. Make sure
IO.
it's .io. Yeah.
Yeah.
Virtuals.io / Genesis if you want to go to this exact page. Um,
Ah,
but
typo.
dang, that is
Don't go to
interesting.
that one. Yeah, be careful for going to these specific things if you're typing them in, because there's a lot of like copycat websites, and people have gotten drained by typoing into the wrong site and connecting their wallet. So just make sure that you're going to the right places. Um, just an FYI for everybody here.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you always double, triple check where you're going and where you're putting in your links. But okay, I have to check in with Dragoon because those numbers aren't adding up for me because it took 0.25 from me from the two that I gave, and I got 2.1 K tokens. Or maybe I don't. I have to double check to see if I did commit the two because I put two virtuals and I got 175 back. I'll have to see if I did do two. I think I could check here. Pass. Yeah. See, I committed two virtuals, participated, and then I got 175 back. Um, but either way, we cooked. We did good. This token keeps dropping, making me less and less wanting to go to jail for it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, if you guys have a chance, make sure you look through some of these, make sure you look through some other agents, and then share them with us. And we can go ahead and review them together near the end of the show to see, if it's something that we all collectively like. Well, the other thing I wanted to show you guys is, like I mentioned 2 weeks ago, following the Virtuals Protocol team is an absolute must if you want to be in this ecosystem, because not only do you find out things like, hey, they're going to Ethereum, hey, they're actually talking about Iris, the first Genesis agent deployed on Ethereum. These are things that, if you talk about alpha, you talk about hints as to like what you should be keeping an eye out for. The Virtual Protocol team, it pretty much serves you a lot of stuff on a silver platter as to like, okay, these are things that I need to keep an eye out for. One of the things that we saw, just like we did before the big updates of Virtual Protocol, was that the Iris launch was actually starting to have some bad tokens being released. Bad fake tokens were being airdropped to people, and so the Virtual Protocol team saw that and they said, hey, we're gonna have to make some changes to ensure we try to keep everyone as safe as possible. They made it very clear that if you were going to participate in the Iris launch and the Iris protocol, anything that was airdropped to your wallet was fake, and the only way that you were going to get the actual token, the verified one, was to go on the website and then make sure that you claimed it from the actual page, just like how we did earlier. Okay, Dragoon says that they took zero point 0.7 from him. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense because yeah, I think you got a lot more than I did.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that
at
makes
that
sense.
rate, because you got like what 0.25, so he'd have like a 2 or 2.5x what you got.
Yeah, and which adds up to how many tokens you got, because you got about 2.5 what I did, which is good. You want to make sure that the math and the numbers are mathing for everyone. Um, And what Virtuals actually did, and I think this is the first time that I saw it, because it was such an important launch for them, because hey, it's going to be their very first token on Ethereum. They want to make sure that they launch it with as little problems as possible. Is actually put a badge here, verified. And yesterday you saw a couple more irises here. I actually, when I was pledging my points and my tokens for it, I actually had to ask the same question. I was like, is this the right one? Because I saw multiple, but then I saw the verified badge. I double checked on their Twitter to make sure that this was the legit one. And based on the numbers of how many people were subscribed, when I participated, it was 1,200% oversubscribed. It more than doubled that since I participated.
The
And
importance
so
of
yeah,
BYOR.
yeah, the importance of, even for no matter how long you've been trading and how long you've been doing it for, you can get got. And I know a lot of people that have been around that one little slip up, it
Yep.
means the world to them. And so if you're ever not sure, double, triple, quadruple check. We have Arshmello asking, does virtual do background checks on the projects being listed on their platform? Sorry if I was late. If it was already answered. So yes and no. Yes, in the sense of, like, if a team that is like prominent in the space has already built other stuff in the ecosystem, or has already built other stuff in crypto, comes in and approaches virtuals directly, like, hey, we have this idea, we have this protocol and ecosystem that we already build, but we want to do an AI agent, and we want to build that AI agent through virtuals. Then they're working directly with the virtuals team. They get a little bit more support. They get a little bit more highlight. They probably get a tweet or two, depending on what they're able to do. But those projects are what you would call, say, yes, they do receive some sort of background check, because if they're getting a verified badge, or they're getting some sort of special treatment on the website, on Twitter, is because the virtuals teams trust them a little bit more. They know who they are. I don't know if they've doxed themselves to them. That's not for us to know, but at least the virtuals teams have had communication with these teams. So those are tokens that I trust a little bit more. Of course, you still got to do your own research to make sure that the team is gonna do what they're gonna that they're gonna do what they say they're gonna do. But seeing a verified badge makes me feel better than if I didn't see a verified badge. Now, does that mean that the virtuals team go ahead and talks to every single team or every single project that gets listed? No. From what I understand, it is still an open ecosystem, non-permissioned, meaning that anyone who wants to create a token and who has an idea has the possibility to. I know before the Genesis launches, all it took for someone to launch an agent was you had an idea, you had a name, you had a token, you created the token, you provided some virtuals for liquidity, and then you were able to launch it. I don't know if it's exactly as easy as it was back then, because we haven't seen as many Genesis launches as we did agents when it was just like that easy. So I'm pretty sure there's a little bit more information that you have to provide, because even let's look at this one, right? Every single project, as we've seen a couple times now, before it even launches, you're able to see a lot more from the team. So it takes a lot more information for someone to create one, at least a good looking one, right? As we saw, there's other ones that you're able to see that don't have a lot of information about the team, don't have a lot of information about the project details. Like, if you just look at this one, you see how much information they have for now 584, how much information they have about the project. So all this stuff takes time, and I think that's another thing that makes the scammers or people who are just create a lot of fake agents sort of not do it as much, because good agents or good Genesis launches look a lot different than one that is not didn't put a lot of time. So let's take a look at this one. We have 4 team members. They have X profiles. They have GitHubs linked. They have PFPs. They have a little bit of who they are, and so you're able to see who these people are. Now, if we look at the AI agents or some of the other ones, there was one that we were looking at, which is Moxie. You scroll down, you see an anonymous team member as a founder, the owner. There's no X, there's no GitHub, there's not much. You go to the project details, it's literally 2 paragraphs, a couple bullet points, compared to the other one with multiple lines, multiple paragraphs. It was pretty much an essay. And these are the things that you're starting to realize. They made it so much easier to spot blatant, not scams, but maybe not super trustworthy um, projects compared to ones that put a lot of time into their page. So to answer your question, yes, sometimes they do more verification than for your average one, but no, I don't think it's exclusive exclusively projects that are vetted by the virtuals team.
It's basically more transparent than some other platforms though, or some other ways to do it, right? Like so, if you were doing with like prototypes or whatever, and there's a couple more restrictions on the project compared to that, right?
Yeah, and I mean when you look at it, you compare it to like a pump fund or another token generation website. This one has a lot more information, but that also comes at a cost. For that trade off, you have a lot less tokens to participate in, a lot less quote unquote opportunities to make a profitable trade because here you have 10 agents in the next like 2 days that are launching. On Pump.fun, you see hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, a day that you can possibly turn into a profit or into a loss. So pros and cons to both approaches. But yes, now that they have required or incentivized people adding more information, allowing people to make it easier for them to decide if this is a legit project or something that they want to support, it turned to this. MD asks, so what are the loopholes one should look for, should look out for at the authenticity of these AI projects? I think I mean, it goes back to some of the stuff that we were looking at right now in terms of there's a difference between authenticity and whether it's a good project for you to participate in. Well, I think one of the first things that I look at before, and maybe this is just a bias in terms of my brain, but when I go into this site, the first thing that I look at instead of like the name, the token, or clicking on their profiles and stuff is like, okay, how many participants do they have and how subscribed are they? That tells me a lot because as a general rule of thumb, if a project has a lot of participants and is oversubscribed and it still has like maybe 15 hours left, there's something to it, you know? Uh, Maybe I think it's harder to get 2,000 people collectively to throw money into something that's bad than it is 40 people with 3.1% subscription to throw money into something that doesn't have a lot of substance.
So
Of course,
now,
that's
if
not
it's a,
that's not like a golden rule. Go ahead, Terrace.
the Moxie's 49% subscribed, but there's only 191 participants. So
Yeah.
how how does that work? Do like the participants, like let's say it's 100%, but there's only 300 participants. Do they get a larger chunk of the tokens then, or
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and it goes back to being able to see the chart here. So you're able to see how many points someone committed or someone pledged, and how many virtuals people committed. So yes, if it does go to the point where it gets to 100% and it's inching there, it still has 8 hours and it's still getting there. Um, that pie or the pie of the total tokens that are available gets split amongst everyone that committed and pledged points. Obviously,
okay?
the more points you pledge, the bigger the cut of the pie that you get, and the more that you actually get your whole virtuals um, taken out. And they make it very easy to know how many virtuals you should actually expect to receive worth of tokens because when you pledge your points. So, for example, if I pledge my 2,000 points, it tells me that my suggested virtuals to commit is actually 566. And the reason why is because um, and someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is how I've seen it work. If it gets to 100% and everyone who put in the virtuals has like their certain amount, you're pretty much guaranteed to get all your virtuals sort of taken from you, and then you get that much amount of tokens back. The difference in terms of points pledged compared to how much you commit really only starts taking effect once you're over at 100%. Because at that point, then they start looking at, okay, we only have this amount of tokens left to give out. So how do we, if I committed 500 virtuals and you committed 500 virtuals, Terrace, how do they decide who to give more tokens to? Then that's when it goes to the points. If I have more points
Okay.
pledged than you, and you have like let's say you have 1,000 points
Like for
pledged and
instance,
I
that
have
guy
2,000
there has
points.
566, but he only has 10,000 points pledged, and the other one has 413, but he has 61,000.
Yeah. So if this goes over 100%, this person is way more likely to get his 413 fully filled before these people get like their 566 filled. Um,
Okay. Huh. That's interesting.
yeah, and as you can
But
see
it's
here,
capped up
it's
to 0.5% of the total supply.
yeah, which I believe that's where they get the 566 max virtuals. Um,
Uh,
I think 566, if we do the math, out of 42,425, comes out to around that 0.05% of total supply. So even if I were to throw 10 million points and then I try to do 10,000 virtuals, it would cap me out at that 556 or 566. Um, it's just if I want to throw more points in, if it goes oversubscribed, it helps me guarantee that I get my full allocation before the next person.
hmm.
Yeah, that's a good question, that's why it also helps you to understand. Um, and another thing that we can cover here is as you're looking at these, if a project is nearing the end, the time ending, and you see that they are gonna make it to the full 100% subscription, compared to other projects, it might be, those are the projects that I'm like, okay, maybe I'll throw in some points and a few virtuals in, because if it just goes over 100%, I'll still get my full, like I should still get majority of my allocation of how many virtuals I put in, compared to if I go into something like how we did with Iris. When I entered, it was already 1,200% oversubscribed. So I knew that even though it told me, hey, this is how many tokens you can expect at the current subscription, if once it doubled, that number I think went down by like half. So when I committed, or when I pledged, I was told I was going to get, call it 5,000 tokens, because the subscription went a lot way overboard than it was at that point. That 5,000 tokens turned out to be like 2,000, because the pie gets cut a lot more ways the more people try to participate. But this is what I mean, right? When you look at these tokens that have succeeded and that have gone through, it looks way different to see 19,000 participants or 19,000 people participating compared to 850 compared to mono. And you see the subscription also follows that rule of thumb. 19,000 people participated, 2,796% oversubscribed. 850 participants, 128% oversubscribed. So in this one, people were pretty much got a lot more of you get a lot more for your points. But the other thing is, and you'll see here, is that because the subscription is just above that initial point, it doesn't give a project the liquidity to launch at a crazy high valuation amount. Right now, the token is sitting at 545,000, but as you can tell, it launched somewhere like here. So it launched like at 600 and something thousand, from when it launched, and then it dropped tremendously. It went up, and then it's been going down ever since. As people decide, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take my profit. I'm done with my jail time. So if I sell now, like I'll be okay. Um, the Yes, even though a token reaches that 100% subscription, it doesn't mean that it's gonna necessarily blow up at like something if something hit the 3,000 or 2,700% subscription. Or I
So now
see there was a
the jail
couple.
time, does the jail time work where you do 7 days and then you can sell, or you sell it and then you're locked for 7 days from participating?
Yes, so that latter one. So
The latter one. Okay.
you're able to sell. So the thing is that virtuals isn't locking you from selling. So if you want to sell, you obviously can't sell. But then they're like, okay, you took your profit, you got your bag. Now you have a cooldown before you're able to participate in launches again. Because what they don't want is the same people who are just constantly selling right away to be taking advantage of all those good opportunities when there's
Hmm.
people who have been holding these Genesis launches, who holding the bag for everyone. They want those people to be able to participate with no repercussions. The other
Now,
thing
is there
though,
a point where you can get to where like you don't have to worry about being locked up? Like, do you have to hold it for a certain period and then you're just free to sell it, or?
that's the one question that keeps getting changed. Um,
Okay.
for some time, it was as long as you didn't sell before this timer ended. So like 182 days, which is it sounds like a long time, but I think that answer I don't have fully because it changes. Sometimes it's 7 days, and this is something that they're trying to figure out how to balance. But as long as you don't sell within like the first day or two, on the third day is where we're not been able to sell without any repercussions. That's not always been the case because there's some people that I know that have sold within like after 5 days, and then it somehow still triggers jail for them. So it depends on a project by project basis. And if
Okay.
you're thinking, okay, is this project going to be something that sends me to jail after 2 days or 3 days? Go to their discords, go to their Twitter pages, or just ask Virtual's team directly, like, hey, for this specific project, this tag, this contract address, what's the jail time or the jail before I can take profits without going to jail? I think is the best way
Okay.
that I can tell you because I don't want to give you guys like, oh, it's gonna be 4 days and then it changes tomorrow or it changes for this specific project. I think it's more of a case by case basis than a general rule of thumb.
We have a few more questions in the chat here. Like
Yep.
MD was asking, so looking at Genesis launches, does early access give you an edge in the ecosystem?
I don't know what you mean by early access. I
I
think
mean,
all
technically,
this
Genesis launches is the early access, right? Like,
yeah, and but this is something that everyone has access to. So
but you need the
you even
points
if
to be able
someone's
to
starting.
use it.
Yes, correct. So everyone can see this information. This is not locked behind anything. If you make an account or you just go in with your wallet and start trying to look at this, you're able to see this. The only thing you're not able to do is actually start participating until you earn yourself some points, which I think Oizamzi is asking how are points earned. We mentioned it a couple. We mentioned it a little bit 2 weeks ago, and a lot of the same thing that we mentioned in the last episode stays true today. If you just click on your points here, even if you're just getting started, you're able to come down and see where the points are being distributed from. So as of June 12th, 2025, most of the virtual points or the Virgin points were given out for daily active bonus, which is this right here. And in order to activate this 72%, you need to stake, and you can stake anything. You can stake virtuals if you want to stake for the long term, or what I'm doing, and this is a big change that I made to my own personal approach, is I am no longer staking virtual tokens. What I'm doing is staking a agent that I actually believe in long term, which is called Degency. And because I believe in it a long term, it's something that I'm comfortable just staking and not worrying about like completely crashing down and losing all my money. So once you stake anything, whether that's virtuals or if you find an agent that you like yourself or something that you know that you want to support long term and you're okay with locking that for a minimum of 2 weeks, that's how you activate this trade bonus. And then in order to amplify it, you trade. So any trade that you make, whether that's on active agents or pre-sale agents or Genesis agents, that will give you more points every single day. And like we mentioned at the start of this bonus needs to be claimed every 24 hours. You can't let it go away because if you do, it disappears and it's gone forever. And that there's been a couple days I think over the last weekend that I missed it because I wasn't at my house, so I missed a couple claims. And then of course you also get other points for doing things. And as we mentioned at the start, you can always look at your point history and see where your points are coming from. As you can see, my daily distribution is giving me 6 points for like the 25 Vader tokens that I have staked. But I'm getting most of my points from Yappin. And Yappin is when you actually go on Twitter, either write stuff yourself, write threads, write posts, talk about virtuals, or and this is something that I do. So I'm not really someone that goes out and like writes threads and stuff like that because I'm busy doing content for other stuff. But what I do is when I see my homies like Kyle or Polo or anyone else talking about the virtuals ecosystem, I like those posts. I share my thoughts in the comments. I participate in the conversation, and even that little bit of maybe you're not the one doing the content yourself, but you are participating and helping others in the conversation. Virtual sees that. And that's where I'm getting like half of my points every single day is from just yapping adjacently. It's not me being the one directly yapping, but I'm yapping with other people. And then, of course, my daily active bonus that gets claimed every day is also like half of my points. And that comes from staking Degency. And I'm very transparent with a lot of my stuff here, so you're able to see how much Degency I have staked. I have a total of 50,000 staked right now, and then I keep 20,000 in my wallet balance because this is a token that I I trade in and out of a lot, just because I've been following it since the very early days of this token. So just 50,000 tokens of Degency, and then a bunch of other little ones that were from Genesis launches that aren't worth enough to sell anymore. Because you can see this is 17 cents, 46 cents, $1, 123, and then, well, I haven't staked this one yet, so it's still $121. But all these little things, plus this one, which I think is the biggest one, 50,000 tokens of Degency gets me those daily points of like about 350 to 450 points, which to me is, it's a pretty good start. Obviously, if I were to stake more, I would probably get more out of it every single day. But this goes to show you that you do not need to be a whale to get started. Even if you have $100, $50, whatever it is, you're able to generate points and enough points. And this is something I wanted to show, like with 100 and, like $70, I was able to generate enough points to then turn 50 cents into 120. So yes, it took a while, but if you look at the amount of money invested or held compared to how much I was able to then turn 50 cents into, like, you start seeing the benefits of just long-term participation in the ecosystem, which goes to show that the way that the virtual team is trying to approach it now definitely is working better than before. Obviously, it doesn't come without its defects. The whales are still whaling, and the whales are still, being the ones being able to throw millions and millions of points in every single Genesis launch. But that's going to be true for any ecosystem. If I have $10 million, I should be getting a bigger share of the pie than someone who has $200. But
Now,
at least it's fair enough for you to be able to participate.
I'm curious, how does one stop like civil accounts from participating? Like, are they? Is there some sort of system that's preventing them from having 10 different accounts funded at 10K a piece and participating in 4 different launches at the same time? Like,
Yeah. So from what I know, and maybe Polo, I know, so I just saw Polo came in, but maybe Polo has a more direct answer. But from what I know is you would have to seed them completely individually, because if you have a starting point and then that wallet sends the funds to 10 different wallets, that gets flagged on their system and it shows it as a cluster, and then that gets taken out.
ah,
So the only way that you can get around that is if you somehow are able to freshly fund 10 fresh wallets, because then at that point, how can anyone tell it's from the same person? But if I were to send, some virtuals, if I were to send 50 virtuals to a new wallet, and then I try to run it up there, and go to jail in my main wallet, well, then that adjacent wallet that I funded and I tried trading with will also be affected. Because yes, you're completely right. They don't want people to sort of try to be like, okay, well, I'll go to jail with this one today, and then I'll be able to trade with the second one for until that one is out of jail. And that's how they sort of stop it for now.
okay, so no KYC, just like a civil prevention system. But like, if you went to like Stripe and funded these wallets via deposit account or something like that, and you funded it 4 different accounts via Stripe, I don't see how they could track that if so long as they're not interacting with each other. You see what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
don't think they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have a KYC system, because I think if they did try to do KYC, it would turn off a lot of people who believe in,
The whole
anonymity
decentralization.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
decentralization. So I think that's the best solution that they have right now. And I mean, I do not doubt it one bit that there are people who do that and who are probably taking advantage of the system. Um, but unfortunately, that's something that's out of our control. And what we can control is how we go ahead and decide to participate in the ecosystem to try to make it as fair for everyone as possible. Um, I know Polo said, not sure if I covered it, but Virtuals posted an article, new point system. Yes, that actually was what I was going to touch on right now as we get closer and closer to the hour. But I know 2 weeks ago I mentioned the Hitchhiker's Guide to Genesis Points. They actually released another one as of 11 hours ago or 12 hours ago, So
Ooh.
this is the following updates to Genesis points will take effect June 13, 2025. So tomorrow. So we're having this conversation at the very right time because starting tomorrow, things will be changed in terms of how you earn points. So
Oh, they
if
even
you
have
guys
the
want, we
three
can.
statuses of locks, which is cool. What is devlock? And it goes into like how many days it takes to unlock. Like three
Mhm.
statuses: green lock unlocking in more than 7 days. No points multiplier. Selling triggers take profit cooldown. No take profit cooldown. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I mentioned, they are trying, even though they're making a lot of changes
Ooh.
very often, they are trying to make it as easy as possible for anyone, even if you're new, to try to, you know, understand how the ecosystem works.
Oh, this is kind of cool too, though. Take profit cooldown is a 10-day penalty period triggered when your Genesis token balance drops below your original Genesis launch allocation. So if you bought in with more at the beginning, like when it launches, you could technically trade the token while holding your initial allocation without suffering from any take profit.
That's correct. Yeah. So that's and just for everyone listening to Terrace's point, um, that means if like for example Iris, as you guys know, I received an allocation of Iris, but if I were to buy more tokens right now, if I were to say, hey, you know what, 53 million is too much of a retracement. I believe this is going to go up. And I were to buy 5,000 tokens with my own virtuals at these prices, I would be able to sell and buy and trade with those 5,000 just as long as I didn't go below my initial amount. And this is actually a an idea or a thought that I gave to, or I guess I did make a tweet about it like a week or so ago. But I was saying, hey, what if you added an extra, button here that allowed you to sell and trade up to that amount that you receive from your Genesis launches.
Yeah.
That way, you don't accidentally hit sell all and then throw
Yep.
yourself in jail when you didn't mean to. You only play within everything that you had extra, which I hope they
Because
add. That'd be awesome.
usually I do sell all or buy X, or I go like by
Yeah.
the percentage points or by like how many I want to sell based on like the virtual cost or whatever, or the virtual buy. So I can see that being a pain in the ass for me. If I tried to do it, I'd lock myself up.
Yeah, and that's I mean, I know there's people in here in this chat that have probably gone through that, and I know some of the people that I trade with, they have accidentally done that too. Forget that they were in the Genesis launch, go to sell all, and all of a sudden they're in jail for, well, now it's 10 days. But yeah, that could definitely be a quality of life update that they can decide to do. Okay. So, yes, I know Polo posted that link, and that's something that everyone should read, but just wanted to go over some of the major points here for everyone. Uh, Things that are being updated as of tomorrow. Staking duration multiplier has been updated. Secondary staked buy multiplier. Net buy points. Devlock multiplier removed. Yapping net points yapping net buy points multiplier, which is something new, clarified yapping rules, clarified project quality reviews. So this is looks like it's going to be a beefy update. These changes build on the foundation of Genesis points. If you're new to the system or just want a refresher, this is how it works. And it goes over what Genesis points are, how you receive them, what it means, how to earn them, the daily active bonus that we've gone over a couple times, stake and agent tokens, duration multiplier. So staking for longer periods receive a higher multiplier because it reflects a stronger conviction. Now the curve has been updated to show that the multiplier is felt earlier, making commitment more immediately rewarding. Secondary stake buy multiplier, which is something new. Staking tokens bought on the secondary markets contribute additional points. So if I were, and I think this goes directly to the Genesis launches. So if I were to, with Iris, if I were to stake my tokens, that's awesome because this is everything that I receive in my Genesis launch. But if I were to buy tokens right now, which are extra, which I'm able to trade and buy and sell, but if I were to stake those that I bought extra, that brings me a new secondary stake buy multiplier. So it incentivizes you even more. Like if like, hey, I believe in this project. I'm not only not going to sell my Genesis allocation, but on top of that, I'm going to buy more and stake that. That will give you an even bigger multiplier for your points because it's incentivizing the right the right moves and the right behavior from people. Net buy
Now,
points, which is also new.
mm,
If your net buy, total agent token buys minus total sells, is positive, you'll receive additional points. So, like we were talking about, Terrius, if you want to trade and sell everything after, as long as you keep it a net buy or a net positive, you'll receive more points.
oh, this is pretty
But
cool, man. I like before when it was just like the prototypes and stuff, I wasn't feeling it that much. But like this like participation in restricted like buy and sell mode is kind of interesting. Um, I like that it kind of gives like a little bit of an advantage to some of the people who aren't able to like buy and sell into every project that comes out. And it
yeah,
also prevents
and
you from dumping all of your liquidity every time project bonds or whatever. Like,
yeah, and then when those whales decide that, hey, I found my big lick, I got my 60,000, they're only able to theoretically do that once and not affect the next big launch. As you can see here with Iris, people took some big profits and they probably got some big bags. But now for the next one, hopefully those big bags aren't around, at least for those. So that's the net buy points. A trading multiplier, trading contributes to more points, but wash trading or other suspicious activities are now actively monitored and may be penalized. Devlog multiplier, this is something that was actually removed. So green devlog still used to trigger TP cooldown, but no longer provides any points multiplier. So that's interesting because we were just talking about that. So if you just decide to hold as long as the devlog is open or the green devlog is still used, it doesn't give you any more points multiplier. But it still does activate trigger TP cooldown.
huh.
Project quality review clarified. Virtual Protocols continually evaluates both Genesis and OG projects. Projects that are consistently building and contributing to the ecosystem receive support from the protocol. So I think that's more of just for builders instead of users directly. We have the
Right.
staking virtuals, which we understand, staking Vader, which we've covered, um, how to stake agent tokens. So this is whether you're just staking more than just your Genesis launches. And any token that you're able to stake will show it there on that page, so you'll know, hey, if I buy this agent, am I able to stake it and then earn points? You'll understand that. There's also other agent staking contracts that are whitelisted by virtuals, so that are outside of the virtuals ecosystem, like Axelrod. The dev lock, more clarification on the green lock, what the yellow lock means. Do your own research. Tokens are already unlocked. No points multiplier. No TP cooldown. So that's interesting. No TP cooldown on the ones that say do your own research. So this. I think this is the way to show like the risk tolerance and the risk level for some of these agents. If you see a green lock, that means that unlocking is for more than 7 days. No points multipliers, but selling does trigger TP cooldown. Yellow lock is unlocking under 7 days. No TP cooldown. So once you see a yellow lock, you are clear to go ahead and sell. If you see a green lock, you will trigger a TP cooldown. And now, if it says do your own research, this is more of the Wild West for all my degens out there who just want to have fun and not worry about jail time. And maybe that's why some people are deciding to try to participate in that Moxie, because they're seeing, hey, I won't have to worry about my research, or I won't have to worry about a TP cooldown. So I would be very careful with these because as soon as it unlocks, you might see some
It's gonna
people
dump.
full cheating their bag, just because they don't have anything to worry about. It goes over the TP cooldown. So all in all, I know I'm just going through it like very briefly and just showing some of the big things, but this is an article that you guys probably want to study and you guys want to read and reread before you guys start trading if you guys haven't yet. But if you guys have been participating since the last 2 weeks that we came around, I would love to hear some of the agents that you guys have taken part in, some of the Genesis launches that you guys started to participate in. How have you
I
guys
know
been able to
Crib had a
do?
call, a token that he was looking at that he wanted to tell you about or ask you about. Crib, what was the token that you had, bro? Crib, is he not paying
See.
attention?
But yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I had to show you guys here today. I showed you guys a couple of the tokens that I've been looking at, how I look at tokens, how I decide. And this is something that they're changing right now and things that they're updating, but they're making it easier and easier for you to understand, like, okay, where am I at with my take profits? Will I go to jail? How am I earning my points? Which I like. The clarification is coming. I know when they first launched this whole new thing, it was very muddy as to how things were being decided. But as we get closer and closer to, or further and further along the development process for Genesis launches, sentient agents, prototypes, and everything in between, it gets clearer as to what your do's and don'ts aren't for the ecosystem.
All right. I think we had like one or two more questions, and then we can go into like selecting some people real quick. I see. Did we get to Oizamsi's question yet? Because I remember he asked a question and it was way up there, and we were kind of
Let me
just
see.
rolling through it. Trying to find it. Did we answer your question, Oizamsi?
I think so. How are points earned? Yeah, we went through. Do you have to create an AI agent to be able to accumulate points? No, you do not need to create an agent yourself. Just participate in the ecosystem. If you ever wonder what that means, click on your points in the top right, scroll down, how to earn points. These are all your do's, and this is your don't. Just don't cheat, because if you cheat, you get a cooldown. But as long as
Yep.
you do these things, you start earning points yourself.
And then we had one more from Epsilon. Should we try to accumulate more points before we start trading in order to pledge more points?
Yes and no. So it just depends on what you're looking for. If obviously if you are trying to if you want to get a big allocation of tokens, yes, saving your points and then going all in on like one big one that you think is going to be a good bet is probably the better idea. Is like a good idea if you want to just go all in on one. Like I did with Iris, I put in most of my points. I saved some back just to be able to have some points here to show for the show today. But if I wanted to, I could have just gone all in and gotten a little bit more allocation. Um, but you want to at least have a couple thousand, I would say, is a good rule of thumb before starting to throw it in. Because if you only have about 100 points or 150 points, the amount of tokens you're going to receive from one of these Genesis launches, especially one of the ones that are going to cook a lot, that are like 2,000% oversubscribed, is going to be very, very minimal. And you're not really going to be able to get much out of it. And that's something that I had to learn myself too, because if I just go here or go to my portfolio or my stake here, yeah. So if I go here, as you can see, the first couple ones that I participated in, I got 231 tokens, which right now is 17 cents. So I use points to get these 17 cents. I think at the height was like $1.50, and I put in like 2-3 cents. So yes, it's still a big jump from like 5 cents to $1.50. But are you gonna want to throw yourself in jail for 10 days for $1.50? And
Yeah.
that's where you have to start to wonder, like, okay, is it worth me going to or getting TP cooldown um, for that little tokens? Axelrod, 13 tokens. Again, not enough for me to want to go to Jeet jail. Cap was actually one that I thought about because it was worth a few dollars back in like when I first did it. But all these were like incremental, like okay, they're growing, they're growing. But every time I threw points in, like I started my progress all over. So I threw in a lot of points here, and which is why I got so many tokens. I think this one was a smaller launch, but if I had saved all of those points that I had here for Solus, I would have done quite well because Solus, with 61 tokens is $1.23. I would have gotten something closer to this. So with Iris, I was like, okay, I saw Iris was doing good. I predicted it was going to do quite hot. Everyone was talking about it. I threw in majority of my points, which wasn't much still because I was still trying to build up from these, and it got a big win. But now the question comes down to again, and the reason why I keep repeating it is because these are the questions you guys should be asking yourselves: is this big win or this win worth going to TP cooldown for 10 days? And something I'm still asking myself right now. So I still don't know. But yes, you definitely want to accumulate as many points as you can, and then look for ones that you think are going to do well. Of course, none of it is ever guaranteed. None of it is ever like, oh yes, because Caesar joined to one that was 2,700%. The next 2,700% is going to do amazing just as well. That is not
Yeah.
it. These are all just general rule of thumbs, things that people see, patterns that you find, but it's not guaranteed. I mean, even Iris was not guaranteed to do well, but these
Nothing
are
in
just
life
things
is
that you gotta
guaranteed but
do
death and
yourself.
taxes.
Yep. So make sure that any points, any virtuals that you're playing with are something that you're okay losing or okay not hitting the same. Because if it comes crashing down, or for example, like if an Iris, all the whales that put millions of points all decided, hey, I'm okay with going to TP cooldown today, and crashed it down to like 2 million, then you would be really sad that you put in all your points to that. Like even this one had a lot of resistance. It was at 200 million at some point. At some point, and then it came crashing down because people took those cooldowns. So
I wonder if
make
you
sure.
had taken profit at that top point, you'd probably be like a 4x or 5x from what you're at right now, right?
Yeah, it would be like a 4x. So it would be like what,
It would have
three
been like
hundred
five,
dollars?
$600. Yeah.
Yeah, like three to four
Well,
hundred.
yeah,
So
about five. Yeah, I was thinking like five.
126. So 250. Oh yeah, like $500. Yeah. Would have been
Yeah.
like $500, and I definitely would have probably gone to jail for 500.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, off of
if you
50
turn 50
cents, hell
cents,
yeah.
is insane. Yeah,
That's the
that's like a
100x.
10,000x.
100x?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
no.
it is 100x, huh? 50 cents, five. So 10x is $5.
Yeah,
100x
no, it was
is
a
$50. No,
1000x.
it's
Yeah.
1,000x. Yeah,
Yep.
that's insane. At the height, this was 1,000x play. So you can tell, you can understand why people took that
Oh, hell yeah.
that big dump.
Especially
You
depending
don't
on
get
what their
1,000x.
allocation was, for real.
Yep.
All right,
But
so
that's why
we
this
have
is
a
so
few
so good.
people. We
Hmm.
have a few people that have asked some decent questions here. Um, we've got Arshmallow, MD, Nadia, Oizamsi, I've seen, and Epsilon all asked some questions. I'll leave the choice up to you, Caesar. What do you think? Who do you think should get the two $10 today? And then we'll do a random drawing just to include everybody as well.
Yeah, I think MD is one that really stood out from the conversation. He was always
Okay.
there asking good questions. I think one of them should go to MD. And who were the other ones? I know
Arshmallow, Nadia, Oizamsi, and Epsilon.
Oizamsi, I think, asked some really good questions too.
All right. So we've got Oizamsi and Epsilon. Congratulations, guys! You both won 10 USDT. Make sure you open up a ticket with your BEP20. We switched over this week to Binance since the rewards across the week were reduced and the contest rewards were increased. So you guys don't have to use as much on gas because Ethereum's been nutty lately with the gas fees going all over the damn place again. I thought they fixed that. Apparently not. And we're gonna do a quick snapshot of the room. I'm not waiting here today. We're gonna do the snapshot in like 30 seconds, and I'm gonna take the picture. And whoever's not here is not here. So get your ass in now, literally now. Otherwise, you're not being included for the last drawing. And we're gonna do one duck race of life, because you guys kill me with the duck. If there's only 20 people, I can do a duck race of death. Fuck it, why not? Um, 21. Ready? Ready? I'm taking the snapshot, guys. That's it. Snapshot is going. And 21 people. Let's go. All right. I'm going to pop this up. I'm going to get the duck race going. And let's have some fun. I like doing the duck races, but the duck race of death is such a killer. Once you hit like 40 people, it's a nightmare to try to like call out names that are flying by and people that are losing and stuff. So, yeah. Let's see here. What do we got? Are you just quiet, Caesar, or did like Discord die on us again? Uh oh. Uh oh. Did I lose you, Caesar? I think I lost him. Fucking A. BRB.
Can you
Can
guys
you
hear
hear
me?
me now?
Hello.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
hear
I
me
can.
now. There's an
Okay, there you
update
go.
ready for Discord. That's what it is. Discord is wigging the fuck out, and like they said, oh shit, we need to fix it, and they decide to fix it right in the middle of our friggin' event. All right, it's not cool, Discord. Not
Yeah.
cool. All right. Arshmallow, Arabo, Tijani. Get all these names in here real quick. Kyle, Mayor, Epsilon, Pluto, Wazamsi, Nadia, MD, E. Isaac. Oh, I need to share my screen too so that you guys can see the race. I'm not used to not having my screen on. I'm used to always being on screen for these guys.
Yeah, that's why I
All right.
stopped sharing my screen. I was like, oh, he's gonna need it.
Sheila, Axel, Emmy, and Ferocity. There we go. That's the 21 people in the list, guys. We're gonna do this for. We can do it for 3 seconds. This one, since Duck Race of Death with 20 people is not all that bad. Let me get this going. And I will share my screen here. Share screen, share screen, share screen. Bang. All right. You guys ready? Remember to quack for your damn
Oh, yeah.
ducks. Your ducks need love too. Quack for the ducks. Support your duck. All right. But we're gonna do a quick duck race of death. The last one standing wins. So ready? Your name is in there. I took a snapshot. And yeah, whoever was here when I took the snapshot got into the race. Tijani, I do know that you're in there. But yeah, ready? Let's go. Shuffle, shuffle, ready, steady, and quack. Let's go. Let's see who's the first one out. MD. MD's the first one out. Bad luck, brother. Next one up is Naman. Better luck next time, my friend. Next one up is Nadia. You are out of the race. Who's the next? The next to run out is Isaac. Sorry, Isaac. Who do we have next? Epsilon running themselves out of the race. Let's see. Let's see. We've got Girly. Better luck next time, Girly. Let's see who we got. Sheila running themselves out of the race. Who do we got? Who do we got? It's Erebo. Better luck next time, buddy. We've got Frosty running themselves out of the race. Let's see. Olabo. See ya, buddy. Better luck next time. Axel. No such luck this time, buddy. Let's see. Who do we got? We got Oma. Oma doesn't have any luck lately. And Kyle, you were out of the race. James, that's because you weren't here for the snapshot. You're not in the race. Zomsi, you are out, my friend. Sorry, buddy. Congrats on the win anyway, though, because you won earlier. Ferocity, you are out of the race. Next one up is Emmy. Emmy, we got to get you a good luck charm or something, brother. Arshmallow, you are out of the race, my friend. Next one up is Pluto. Better luck next time, Pluto. Who do we have now? It is Pager running themselves out. And last but not least, Mayor. Oh, Mayor is the winner. Congratulations, Mayor. So
That
we've
was
got our
insane.
drawing. Yeah, it's just how it goes. As quick as possible. We just go. But yeah. All right. So Mayor, congratulations, buddy. Um, you can open a ticket with your BEP20 wallet address. You already have a ticket open, I think. But yeah, just tag me in your ticket, and I will get you added to the list of winners. All right, whew, it's hot in here, and doing this shit makes it even worse. All right, so if there's anything else that you want to share, Caesar, before we go, any news from 100X? You guys doing anything cool and new down there? Anything our friends might want to know about or join in on to get some more information or learn some more knowledge? I know you guys have the 100X account that should link right to the Discord, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, like Tara said, if you guys want to know anything about 100X, follow along with any of the shows, any of the content that we make, everything in between. The easiest way is just to follow the 100X underscore official Twitter page. There you will find a link tree, and then that link tree will take you to absolutely everywhere. So from our Discord to our Twitter to our YouTube to our Spotify to everything in between. You can find that there. And like you guys always know, any question that you guys may have about the virtuals ecosystem or just trading in general, or you want to just hang out and vibe and play some games, the 100X Discord is where to do it. 100X Caesar is where to find me on Discord, Twitter, LinkedIn, and everything in between. Reach out, say what's up, say hello, and Yeah, Terrace, thank you again for having me here. It was a fun episode number 3. Glad that we were able to show some good projects, some good wins from the last 2 weeks. Showed a little bit more about the points. Got to answer some good questions from the chat. So thank you for having me back.
These guys are always super curious. They'll ask you 1,000 questions to try to figure something out, and like they really get into it. They get into it like we get into it when it comes to like jumping into a DGen play or something like that and really learning about something. These guys go all in. They're great when it comes to that shit. Emmy, is all coin season coming?
Hope so. Hope so.
We all
We
hope
need it.
so.
We need it.
All right, guys. So that's it. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Caesar has contributed to our knowledge chasing habits for the day. We will be back again tomorrow with the space at 11. We're going to do the community space so you guys can all hop up and enjoy chatting with each other on a live space and get used to the etiquette and being polite around each other and just generally getting more comfortable with speaking. Um, Other than that, have a wonderful day, guys. I'm going to end the live stream now. Remember, join up. Check out 100x underscore official on X. Come join the Discord here, www.discord.com, discord.com/CJ and friends. And come be a friend. Come learn. Caesar's here every other week. We have game nights with Toxic every other Tuesday. We've got game nights when they're not here for both Rumble and Gardic. And we've got Guildhall 3 days a week where we sit here for 2 hours and listen to me yap about X content creation and building up your portfolio and your account and creating graphics and all that cool, wonderful stuff. So next week's going to be a little different though because Monday we're going to be later. It's going to start at 5 p.m. UTC instead of 2 p.m. UTC because we have a tournament in the morning. I'm probably going to see you there, Caesar, or at least some people from the 100X crew because I know you guys like
Yes,
rocking
sir.
out on the tournaments. But yeah, I'll see you guys then.